Call to order Board of Zoning Appeals for Monday, August 28th, 2023. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from August 14th, 2023.
Chairman, I recommend we approve the minutes from August 14th, 2023.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Next up is any special requests or continuances? Mr. Nelson, no? Then we'll move on to findings of fact. BZA 2022-046 is first, which was a use variance for racetrack.
Mr. Chairman, in consideration of the statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2022-046.
Mr. King, second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Next is BZA 2023-030 development standards variance for Sean Fair for 28-30 East Main Street.
Mr. Chairman, in consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2023-030.
By Mr. Moll, second by Mr. King. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Next is BCA 2023-031, petitioner Sarah Wilson for 500 East Pearl Street.
Mr. Chairman, in consideration of the statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2023-031.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Do we have any no old business on the agenda? Old business from the floor? Seeing none, we do not have anyone online, correct? No one is joined. Okay.
I know they only will show up online if they have a camera. If they don't have a camera, we'd have to ask.
Okay, it won't even show the phone number to.
Yeah, usually.
Usually we'll see the phone number.
There's no one.
Okay. All right, new business. Up first is BZA 2023-032, a use variance for 70 East Main Street. Petitioner Andrea Nix requesting approval of a use variance in order to operate a health clinic in Old Town Zoning District. All those wishing to present, please stand and be sworn in by our secretary.
Swear to the surgery. That's my good to the best of your knowledge. You swear to the penalties of perjury. That's my good to the best of your knowledge.
You can approach the podium, and before we do that, are all the notices for receipts and everything in order?
The notices are in order and in our file.
And
we moved it in a copy of the development ordinance.
all right, name and address for the record.
My name is Andrea Nix. My address is 2173 Feather Glen Way, Franklin, Indiana 46131.
All right, Ms. Nix, there should be a form up there to actually fill out with your name and address. Is that it?
I think I forgot it.
You forgot it tonight?
I do have the name and address on the staff
Okay,
report.
so we're good. Disregard that, please.
Okay. Yeah, I got one.
Oh, we're back. And do we have a pen up there? Steve?
I don't have that. Yeah.
I will deliver.
All right, we are working through it.
This is why I shouldn't come along.
That's right. See, they all bail on it. All right, Ms. Nix, tell us why you're here.
So I am here to ask for a use variance for 70 East Main Street, Greenwood. This is an office that is located at that area, and I am wanting to do a health clinic. That's a men's health clinic along with an IV drip spa. It will be working more so in the evenings and on the weekends, so I don't feel like there's going to be issues with any traffic or anything, but most of it's going to be virtual. It will be done as telephone.
Do you have your copy to your answers of the statement of reasons?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's walk through those.
Okay,
Number one, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because
I'm providing health benefits to the surrounding community by offering convenience of mainly telehealth appointments. On-site would include once-a-year health consultations and possibly IV hydration therapy. I'm a healthcare provider that's been a nurse and a nurse practitioner within Johnson County and south side of Indianapolis for over 22 years. I would like to promote health and safety within Greenwood and surrounding communities.
okay. Number two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because
The adjacent properties will not be used in any fashion. The building is already present and the property owner is a pillar in the city of Greenwood for many years. I do not plan to ask the property owner to change any part of the property that would affect use or value of the area adjacent to the property located at 70 East Main Street, Greenwood, Indiana. I will not be participating in or providing any illegal activities that would affect the property and community adversely.
and number three, the need for the variance arises from some condition peculiar to the property involved because
70 East Main Street, Greenwood, Indiana is located in the zoning district of Old Town Greenwood. This property is located, or this property location, oops, sorry, I'm missing something. It's located in that zoning district. Because of that, I'm asking for, or to be a healthcare clinic that is not in the zone for Old Town Greenwood. So this property is located in easy access for the community to be able to acquire preventive health services.
okay. Number four, the strict application of the terms of zoning ordinance will constitute an unusual and unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought because
So this may restrict access to preventive care, education on lifestyle change and supplement use, and help to prevent poor health outcomes by increasing quality of life awareness through health promotion.
and then number five, the approval does not interfere substantially with the comprehensive plan because
The locally owned clinic will be within an already established office building and will not require any redevelopment. Due to the very small size of the clinic, there will not be an issue with any overabundance of traffic being directed to the clinic or noise coming from the clinic. It will not be any type of dispensary or laboratory, and the clinic will promote the health and well-being of the local community.
anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak before I ask staff for their input? Mr. Nelson?
As you can see from our staff report, staff had no objections to the petitioner's statement of reasons. And we did recommend an approval with no conditions. Due to the size of the clinic and the pre-existing office building, we really felt like this would not have any negative impact in the area. And I think Greenwood's a place where we want to promote locally owned small businesses. Also, just in our staff report, we did just show that there is an existing parking lot at the office building. So they do have parking on site for the offices, although they'll be coming in small groups or as individuals, so it should be pretty minimal traffic. And then there are also a variety of different surface parking areas around the area. So we had no concerns.
Okay. Anything else to add to that after? Okay, then we'll close the public hearing. I'll do it up to the board. Mr. Mull?
Good.
Mr. Milborn? Mr. King? Mrs. Peters?
Okay, I have one question for staff. You see there's 15 parking spaces, but you don't say where. I don't see on the map where there's any parking spaces. Is it in behind the building?
So the map is just showing the surface parking lots in Greenwood. The office building, there is a site layout, exhibit C, and that does show the parking spaces. They have some in the front of the building, and they also have some towards the rear, and there's also a garage that's attached to the building. I'm not sure if the garage is used for parking or if it's just storage.
So that, I guess I'm just curious if we're gonna say that's not gonna be an issue. Will there be signage for where parking is? I mean, people come in there.
It's right out front of the building. That's where you,
Because I thought the building was on Main Street.
it is.
It's setback, it's not.
It's setback.
Oh, it is, okay, I can't visualize it there, because it's not
It's
a
like
good picture.
Right
It's right across from the firehouse.
Firehouse, yeah.
It's a brick building, there's landscaping, so the parking lot is kind of hidden behind
Okay. that's why I
trees
couldn't
and
tell, so
shrubbery, so it's not a very like, it's well landscaped, so it's not super noticeable parking lot. They do have some spaces there.
And how many employees will you be having? Not just you. What if you're sick or not there?
Well,
Vacation.
It's a very, very part-time position. I work full-time at the hospital nearby, so sick, then we'll do a virtual visit. Everything's gonna be appointment only anyway.
Okay, well, I didn't see that in here.
I didn't say it.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a multi-tenant building, right? So it's just like an office within the office building.
Yes, this would be one of the office suites. It's already an existing office area. The reason it needed a use variance was for the health clinic aspect, although a lot of this is running like a typical office with calls, virtual meetings, etc. But due to it being a medical practice, that's where the use variance came into play. We felt that the intensity of this business was very low and it would not be adverse to the surrounding area. We agreed with all of her statements of
Yeah,
reasons.
that's why I was just gonna touch on the peculiarity and all of that, is because it's, when you talk about healthcare, it's kind of a low intensive healthcare. It does fit the area and all that, okay. And I have no further questions. I will take a motion to admit all the evidence into the record.
Mr. Chairman, having considered the statutory criteria, move that we. First one, I'm so sorry. Move that we admit all the evidence presented in regard to this matter, including notices, receipts, mass photographs, written documents, petitions, applications, attachments, petitioner's detailed statement of reasons, staff report prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the Unified Development Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan, testimony of the petitioner, city planning staff, and any administrators, and all other exhibits presented, be they oral or written, for consideration by this board in regard to the position, and to include testimony of those present this evening.
Motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mr. King. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. I will take a motion on the docket itself.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request with no conditions.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0 to approve with no condition. There is no signature line on the ballot. It's not there, a lot of it. I'll take a motion to direct the Corporations Council to draft written findings of fact.
Mr. Chairman, having considered the statutory criteria, I move that we direct the Corporation Counsel's Office to draft written findings of fact regarding our decision on the variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2023-032. Said findings to specifically incorporate the staff report and the evidence submitted into the record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision, final action regarding this petition at our next meeting.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Mull. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. You're welcome to proceed. We'll take final action at our next meeting, as you heard, but you can work with planning staff. Good to go.
If you need a sign permit or if you're doing any remodel on the inside, just reach out to our department.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next up is BZA 2023-033, a special exception for 647 Sayre Court. Petitioner is Neil Sander on behalf of Independence Engineering, requesting approval of a special exception in order to expand an outdoor storage in an IL zoning district. All those wishing to present, please stand and be sworn in by our secretary.
Do you swear on this perjury?
I do.
True to the best of your knowledge.
I do.
Thank you.
Before we start, everything in order?
Yep, all the notices are in our file and correct.
Okay.
And I need to admit a certified copy of the Unified Development Ordinance to the record.
All right, name and address for the record.
Neil Sander, Independence Engineering, 123 Farnsworth Avenue,
Bordentown, New Jersey.
Then we will have you also add your name and address to that paper right there, so we get it accurate. All right, Mr. Sanders, tell us why you're here. Is it Sander or Sanders?
Sander,
Sander, okay.
I don't need a business card for information purposes.
Thank you.
I represent SRS Distribution, which is the corporate parent company of Automatic Supply. Automatic has been selling wholesale roofing supplies at its location on Sarah Court and Greenwood for 20, 25 years. Around 2021 or 2022, they sold the business to SRS, which is a national agglomeration of wholesale construction materials. SRS was looking to expand its facility in Greenwood, and the branch manager went out and hired a contractor, stone down, did a little bit of grading. Turned out no permits were pulled at the time. We received a violation notice earlier this year that what work had been done, including the grading and stone, were in violation of the city code. We scheduled a meeting with city planning staff to discuss what the next steps were. At that time, we sat down and discussed the site that previously had a variance issued in 2001, and that if we wanted to expand the existing storage and keep what we'd already put, we would have to apply for a special exception for outdoor storage in an IL zone, as well as follow the site plan approval process. The first step of that being here at the BZA, if the special exception is not approved, then we'll just have to remove the non-compliant improvements.
Okay.
We have received comments from city staff. I'll let Mr. Nelson go through those.
Before we do that, do you have your answers to the detailed statement of reasons that we can go through and get them on the record?
Yes.
Okay, so number one, the appropriate screening and buffering of the site, including refuse and other surface areas, is provided to ensure that the use will be compatible with neighboring properties and will present acceptable view from the public ways because
We are proposing to put an opaque fence around the perimeter of the site. That is required as part of the outdoor storage requirements of 10-03-10 of the Unified Development Code. It is not currently there. The previously approved 60 by 60 outdoor storage is enclosed, but we will have to expand that fence as part of the special exception.
okay. Number two, the ingress, egress, and on-site circulation to and within the site is safe and adequate because
That is correct. We are not proposing to make any changes to the existing driveway onto Sarah Court. We're not proposing to expand the parking lot in any way. The building itself is compliant with respect to parking, and we're not proposing to expand it. Once the storage yard is approved, obviously we'll be laying out the materials that are stored there in such a way that trucks can get in and out.
okay. Number three, satisfactory parking and loading facilities are provided because
It is an existing building. It was approved by site plan in 2001. To my knowledge, no changes to the building have been made since then. Originally, there was 3 different uses in the building. Now it's 1, but no expansion of the building has been made and no additional parking has been necessitated because of it.
number four, adequate utility services and related facilities are available because
It is an existing building. There is water, sewer, electric, telephone. We're not proposing any changes to the building, and the outdoor storage does not require any additional facilities.
number five, adequate yards and open space are provided because
The limitation on impervious cover in the IL zone is 80%. Given the number of easements that limit the developability of the site, we will be under 80%.
number six, the proposed use does not generate environmental impacts which may threaten public health and safety, including but not limited to air quality, odor, smoke, pollution, flooding, or loss of wetlands because
That is correct. This is an existing facility. The storage is enclosed. Under section 1003-10 of the Unified Development Code, the surface has to be either asphalt or concrete.
So there's not going to be a concern about dust being kicked up when trucks either deliver or remove materials from the site. Also, it is in an industrial area, so there's not going to be a significant increase in noise generation coming from the facility.
Okay. Number 7, the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding uses and will not adversely affect adjacent properties because
It is an industrial park. There are similar uses in the industrial park that also have outdoor storage. This one happens, it's surrounded on 3 sides by other industrial large zoning. The property to the north is, I believe it's commercial large or commercial medical. I'm sure Mr. Nelson can correct me, I'm sure that is. But it's also separated from that by a creek, and there's about 100-foot easement around that creek, as well as a riparian buffer on the far side.
Okay. Number 8, the design of the structures is in harmony with the surrounding area in both style and scale because
This is the existing structure. It is in an industrial park. It's actually in better shape than some of the buildings that are in there.
and number 9, the proposal is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan because
This area is marked as industrial. It's next to the airport. There's a lot of functional industrial uses in the industrial park.
all right, anything else to add before I ask Mr. Nelson for the staff's comments and findings?
Not at all, as long as I have the opportunity to respond.
You will, yep, absolutely. All right, Mr. Nelson?
So from our staff report, you can see that staff is recommending a denial of the outdoor storage expansion. It was in staff's opinion that it did not meet criteria 1, 6, and 8. And we have our reasons in the body of the criteria. One of our concerns is with the environmental impacts, especially because this is currently encroaching into a legal drain. It's a county legal drain. It is also part of a regulated floodway. So not only are they in violation of the city, but they are also having to work with DNR for the expansion that they've illegally erected. So with that, we do have some concerns due to how close it is to the creek or the stream. The other one is the style of the surrounding area. So currently, this is zoned industrial, which is correct. But the surrounding style of this area along Emerson and visible from Emerson is much more commercial in nature. You have the hospital, you have the daycare, et cetera. We recently had a zone map change along Emerson, the entrance to this industrial park going to a commercial use. And then to the north, it is interstate commercial. So the character of the area and the style is oftentimes more commercial and office in nature. And then the third one was the screening, appropriate screening and buffering. The current screening is not appropriate for the use. It is currently a chain link fence, and I did have a photo on the computer loaded of just the current screening. This is the view from over by Emerson. They were committed under their use variance to have 100% screening, and they did not follow through with that commitment. So you can see there is a chain link fence with their equipment laying in the yard. Furthermore, the use variance limited the use, this user to 60 by 60 feet of outdoor storage. I truly believe expanding it past there would be in conflict with the previously approved use variance for this site. Just to give you kind of the scale of the expansion, the expansion area, you have the here. Well, it's in the staff report somewhere. Right now, I can't find it, but it's a significantly larger
It was,
area.
May Violation or something regarding disturbing over 15,000 square feet of land.
There it is. So that is the current disturbance. Right now it is gravel, as you mentioned, that would have to be asphalt or concrete, hard surface. That was not the intent of the petitioner. That is something that we are requiring them to do. We did ask that the petitioner remove it, as it is violating multiple things. They have decided to instead come before you to apply for a special exception, try to work their way through DNR and then through our local floodplain permitting process to keep this expansion there. So with that, I respectfully recommend a denial.
And you have several conditions if we choose to allow it that you recommended, I see.
Correct, some of those conditions are things that they would already have to do, such as working with DNR and the Johnson County Surveyor, who is another party that he did not get a permit from at the time. So some of these are things that they already have to do, but due to the past screening not being put in place, we wanted to make sure that these commitments were clear.
Anything else?
That's all.
Mr. Sander?
Yeah, if I may respond, I think the staff's objections to the application basically come down to 4 items, which were the screening, floodway, the neighborhood compatibility, and the violation of prior variance. We fully agree, screening will be a requirement of the special exception. It's in the code. We have no objection to it. Again, we're aware that we have filled in the floodway, we've built in the floodway. The only reason it hasn't been removed to this date is to see whether we have to remove just the berm and part of the gravel in the floodway or after remove all the improvements, depending on how the special exception of the site plan proceed. As far as the neighborhood goes, I understand that this site is visible from Emerson Avenue, but the vacant parcel in between it and Emerson is zoned industrial park. I realize that some parcels nearby may be rezoning to commercial, but it has not been rezoned yet. So we will have the adequate opaque screening and the adequate landscaping, which will minimize any effect on the Emerson Avenue view shed. And the fourth one being the violation of prior variance. Again, I can't speak to the history. It's been 22 years since this variance was granted. One thing I can say is that the variance was granted when this property was zoned I-1 and it was within the I-65 overlay district, neither of which exists anymore. If this was being built from scratch, we would only be going for a special exception in the site plan. There wouldn't be a variance associated with it.
All right, thank you. I guess, Mr. Nelson, anything else to add to that?
Yeah, the zoning, the change in zoning that happened with our October 20th comprehensive new zoning classifications and map. So with that, they tried to pair zonings with their similar zones. So the I-1 was similar in nature, or they felt it was similar to the industrial large zoning for this area. So they really didn't, it's still industrial, that the zoning didn't change. At that time, you needed a use variance to have this outdoor storage. Now you need a special exception, but I don't think that discredits the forethought and the conditions that were put on that previous use variance, which is still follows the property, it's still active.
Okay. All right, close the public hearing. Mr. Mull?
No questions.
All right, Mr. Milborn?
No.
Mr. King?
No.
Ms. Peters?
Okay, I'm just looking at the staff's objections. They've addressed the one about the opaque screen from Emerson. Yeah. Drain easement, that would be addressed with the DNR and the floodway issue. And then the only other one that I see that you have is because of the surrounding area, I'm having struggles with comparing them to a commercial when they're in an industrial, I have heartburn over saying, well, because it doesn't match the commercial and they're not expected to match the commercial. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around why that would be an objection, since it's not expected that they would need to match the commercial zone.
I guess the reason it is a special exception is to make sure it meets a higher level of criteria than just a permitted industrial use. So this is one that they want you looking to see if it's harmonious with the area. Otherwise, if it was not a special exception and just a permitted primary use, we wouldn't be here. But it's got a higher bar to cross when it is a special exception with these criteria. And then to answer your question regarding the DNR and flood area, I am the floodplain administrator for the city of Greenwood. It is not recommended to develop in any flood hazard zone. I know that they can work on engineering, alter the floodway and the flood fringe. I think it's just floodway in this case. But it typically is not environmentally a good idea in my mind to have truck deliveries and outdoor storage close to the stream and within a regulated drainage ditch that would need to go through the county surveyor. So typically, if it's not okay with the city, it's not okay with DNR and not okay with the county, it's probably best to not do it instead of jump through multiple hoops, multiple jurisdictions to force a square peg into a round hole.
But since they've already had trucks for years, that it's nothing new.
And there's never been trucks in the legal drain or the floodway. It's just been in that centralized 60 by 60 use variance approved area. But yes, there's been truck traffic to the site.
So is there intention for truck traffic beyond the current 60 by 60 where this is expanded, or?
It might be best to ask the engineer. I assume it's just deliveries for, I think they had irrigation equipment, roofing equipment. It would just be trucks coming in, going to drop off.
And nothing really changing from before.
No, yeah, that's tucked kind of in the corner of the building, whereas this is towards the stream.
If I may, I know the hearing is closed, I don't know.
No, you're
I mean, you
absolutely, you
can
can answer
respond.
questions.
Okay. Yes, I mean, there are deliveries, there are currently deliveries, they store materials on site. The only change that materials are going to be stored outdoors now. And with regard to the floodway, we are aware that there's a 90-foot floodway easement. Part of this special exception application, even before we get to site plan, is, if you look at the plan, you'll see we've moved that edge of pave out of the floodway. We're well aware that Johnson County and DNR, we've already spoken to DNR. They don't want us there. We acknowledge that it was a mistake to do that, and that's going to be part of our full site plan. We will not have any improvements in the floodway. In fact, in speaking with the DNR engineer, I don't remember his name, but basically he said because of the minor encroachment that we're talking about, in order to remove the fill that was placed there, we could do it with a simple letter, send DNR a letter saying, hey, we're fixing our error. We're going to go in and remove the fill that shouldn't have been there in the first place, and they could authorize that by letter.
So I mean, your understanding, no matter what we do, if it violates that, we can't override.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, understood.
So just to clarify, this variance, when it was granted 22 years ago, it's the same company, but the company's owned by someone new in the last 3 years.
Correct.
And that variance runs with the land, which I get, or the property, but no one's addressed the fencing and whatnot
All these years.
all these years. I mean, I am concerned at the lack of
Code enforcement.
code enforcement. I'm also the fact that it's been a long time, but that the variance that was granted was not followed at the time, so there is obviously concern there. In all I get, I also understand where staff is coming from, but it does sound like most of their concerns are being addressed either through conditions or already known to need to be addressed. I guess my concern is if we put conditions on this, code enforcement is going to need to be stronger to make sure it is enforced and not that we don't let it go year after year again.
That's one of the benefits of being part of a corporate entity like this, is they have a real estate department, and they have a maintenance department, and somebody is going to be looking at making sure they're in compliance with permits all the time. Amazingly, this is a $9 billion company that did not have a real estate department until 2 years ago. And I've spent a lot of my time flying around the country, fixing fences and getting permits and special exceptions.
Then the other thing is, I have the same question as Peter said that you answered, Mr. Nelson, about the compatibility when it is zoned industrial, but I get that even to have the outdoor storage in industrial is an exception. It does look like most of this is behind an area where all the commercial looking buildings are, so it's not necessarily in the middle of it, right? It's off to the side and back there. I think that's all my questions. I can see an argument either way in this case. I think with the conditions are certainly going to be a requirement to make this viable, but with those, I do believe the criteria can be met, so. Okay. I will take a motion to admit all the evidence to the record.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we admit all the evidence presented in regard to this matter, including the notices, receipts, maps, photographs, written documents, petitioner's application and attachments, petitioner's detailed statement of reasons, staff report prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the Unified Development Ordinance, comprehensive plan, testimony of the petitioner, city planning staff, and any remonstrators, and all other exhibits presented, be they oral or written, for consideration by this board in regard to this petition, and include the testimony of those present this evening.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mrs. Peters. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. I'll take a motion on the ballot itself.
Chairman, I recommend that we approve the request with several conditions. Number one, petitioner work with DNR and Johnson County Surveyor to address all the issues regarding the disturbance of land within the legal drain easement and regulatory floodway. The entire area. Number two, the entire area must be paved with asphalt to concrete. Number three, the area shall apply for and receive approval of site development plan. Number four, the entire storage area must meet the requirement screening as stated in special exceptions requirement for outdoor storage, including the existing storage area which does not meet the previous condition. And we didn't discuss this, but we want to add number five, landscaping consisting of shade trees, ornamental trees, and evergreens along the eastern border of the storage area outside of the fence.
Motion to approve with the 5 conditions by Ms. Peters. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 3-2 with all the conditions. I will take a motion to direct the Corporation Council draft written findings of fact.
Mr. Chairman, having considered the statutory criteria, I move that we direct the Corporation's Council Office to draft written findings of fact regarding your decision on the variance petition, or variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2023-033. Said findings specifically incorporate the staff report and evidence submitted into the record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision and final action regarding this petition at our next meeting.
Motion by Mr. Moll, second by Ms. Peters. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. So we will take final action in a couple of weeks. You are welcome to proceed and work with staff. You have a lot of hurdles to clear. We certainly, as you can see, the 3-2 vote, we have concerns. We need you to meet what this is. I do think if you follow through, it will be an improvement and it's much nicer. So
Appreciate it. And if you'd like, we do have pre-filed meetings that are free of charge. We run them every Wednesday just about a week before you want to be on the agenda, if you just want to send either a concept plan or if you have any engineered stuff, we'd be happy to go over it before you submit your site plan application.
Okay, yeah, I think we're probably gonna take a hard look at stormwater on the site before we come to you, just because the site's very flat above, so. You'll probably see us with it.
Perfect, and yeah, just keep us updated on
Is that-
everything.
Is that virtual?
The three files are virtual. If you need in person, we can accommodate, but we typically do them over Zoom. We just put the plans up on the screen, zoom in, point, click, circle things. And we keep us updated too if you are talking with the Johnson County Surveyor and with DNR. It sounds like they've already given you somewhat of a reply.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, any new business from the floor? Seeing none, any announcements?
Yes, I do have an announcement. I told you I'm gonna bug you guys every week. Our virtual meeting for a comprehensive plan is live. I know some of you have checked out the virtual map that you can put comments on, like people's comments, dislike people's comments, draw trails, put in zoning that you want for the future. You can color on it, pretty much anything regarding how you feel about Greenwood can be communicated on this map. So I'd appreciate if you guys all went in there. You don't even have to make your own comments. You can just like other people's comments or dislike them. And then we do have our online survey that's active. Did talk with HWC, who's our vendor. I think they said we're about 115 surveys completed so far. It's only been active for about a week, so we're happy to hear that we've had that level of response. But if you haven't taken the survey, please take the survey and share this information with your friends and family. Again, it's plangreenwood.com. Just all together, plangreenwood.com, and I'd be happy to email you more information on it if you have any questions.
That's where the interactive map is as well.
Yep, they are both on there. You just
I got the survey into that, I forwarded that on, but I don't recall the interactive map for some reason, so I'll have to look at
Sources
it.
on it.
It's right there, okay.
Mr. Mull can help you if you need help navigating the website.
I'm sure.
It's been clicking.
And open.
Yeah, I clicked the survey link, so I don't know that I went straight, I didn't go to the website, I'll figure it out.
Now, I thought the open house was supposed to be addressing this.
Yeah, so that's another event too. We're doing both in-person and online workshops. They're not exclusive. You can participate in both of them. They'll both be slightly different. At the in-person workshop, we'll definitely be promoting the online activities. But don't feel like you can only pick one or the other. We'd love to have your input on both of them because they will be different, different questions, different mapping exercises.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have a conflict on the in-person one because I was looking forward to that, but.
So I mean, how long after the open house will the surveys be available? I didn't want to do it until I went to the open house.
Yeah, so we can definitely do it after the open house. It will be open probably till like November or early December. We haven't exactly put a deadline on. I'm sure if we're lacking responses, we'll try and push it out a little longer. But I do hesitate to say that out loud at a public meeting because I want people to not put it off and forget about it. So if you're available to do it sooner than later, definitely get in there. And once you have your comment on the map, other people can see it and weigh in on it too. So if you want to get a comment in early, there's a higher chance more people will see it.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Mr. Foster, any announcements?
Nothing from legal.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So
We are adjourned.